Oh, you ready? Okay. So, first speaker is Jennifer Osger. So, I could tell you a million things about Jennifer, but the first thing I want to tell you is she probably would most be one to introduce as a mom. I came across her because she wrote this book called A Million Kisses, inspired by her children. She's an English teacher. She's a kid saver. If you look her up on the web, you'll see this wonderful story done about a kid that literally Jennifer saved, and she's done that for many. But she's got a wide range of skills. She's a conference organizer, she's a movement leader, and she is an educator and adult professional developer and presenter, and I'm also very proud to call her a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jennifer Osger.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I'm very grateful and very humbled to have this opportunity. Thank you so much. So I totally mixed up my slide presentation as a result of our wonderful presenters yesterday and the feedback that I got from my workshop. So I wanted to make it as relevant as possible and share some of my aha moments from yesterday. So let's see how this goes. So a little bit about myself, like he said, I've been teaching for 20 years. I am certified through TransEd, and I'm also a certified Appreciative Inquiry Facilitator. I got my training in Cleveland, Ohio, the home and birthplace of AI. So here's a quote that I would like you to consider for a moment. In our scheme, we do not want any initiative. All we want of them is to obey the orders we give them, do what we say, and do it quick. Can you relate? Possibly. I'm seeing some head shaking, yes. So let's see who said it and when it was said. Frederick Taylor, 1919, 100 years ago. He was an efficiency expert, and he did consultation work to make people work as quickly as possible. And what I find interesting about this quote is 100 years later, with the internet, with cell phones, smartphones, we're using a very similar organizational model, and I think it's time for a change. So Eric Jensen, the connection that I made from yesterday with school culture. He defines stress as a perceived lack of control over adverse situations. So it got me thinking. What happens as teachers is that we become autonomous and we really value privacy because of that. Because administration is mandating things that we need to do, the initiatives, implement them quickly and do it effectively. So what happens as a result? You close the door and you do your thing, right? That's what teachers say a lot of times. Do what administration says, but then you close your door and do whatever you want. So nobody wins that way. Administration doesn't win, we don't win, we need to find a better way. So just to reiterate, the paradigm, the old paradigm from 100 years ago that we're still using today, you recognize it, school board, superintendents, supervisors, building principals, teachers, and it trickles down. Now, they recognize that this is not the best, and so there have been attempts to do collaboration, which is really important, 21st century skills, and so on. But let's see how it actually works in practice rather than just theory. So Brian Harris said yesterday that in order for real learning to occur, such as in a professional development, in addition to the classroom, is that learning needs to have relevance and build relationships. So let's see if that's done with collaboration in schools with fidelity. PLCs are mandated when we do them, how we do them, and it's a great idea, but it's not really the way true collaboration is supposed to happen authentically. So PLCs then become, people love complaining. You know it's true. Again, we need a better way because nobody wins this way. Now this is where I love to geek out and it gets pretty interesting. If you've ever heard of fractals in nature and in science, it's where there's a repeated pattern that happens over and over again. So Romanesque broccoli, look at that. There's a shape and then it repeats and repeats and it expands and ripples out. Queen Anne's lace, you have this beautiful flower head. And then if you look at that, it's comprised of tiny little flower heads. And then you go in, and it gets more and more intricate at the same repeating pattern. The theory behind AI, appreciative inquiry, is that we are living systems too, and we mimic the same design. On this side here, an inverted tree. Trees breathe. Now they may not have a brain, but they are intelligently designed. And that is a lung, mimicking the same, with the same features. Over here, you have lightning. And right next to it is a neuron firing, the electric. There's 5 principles in AI. First one is constructionist, which means that reality is subjective. I have my perspective, you have yours, and we can honor both of them and they can coexist. The second is the simultaneity principle, which means as soon as you begin asking questions, that's when transformation can occur. That's why it's so important for us to ask students questions in the classroom, and it's important for administration to ask us questions as well and really care about our answers. Poetic principle means that we are currently evolving and we're changing, and that's a good thing to recognize that. Where it may be stressful, we can perceive it as advancing. Then we have the anticipatory principle, and what that means is when you look at something to the future, that's when you start to have some transformation. It's very tempting to want to stay rooted in the past, but as soon as you imagine something in the future, that's when you can have the transformation. But what you focus on needs to be positive. Rather than looking to the past and trying to find problems, at best you find a solution that brings you to neutral. But in reality, if you're looking for problems to solve, you get really good at finding problems. Whereas if you look at areas where people are thriving and flourishing and analyze that with as much passion, then you can look to the future to create more moments like that in different circumstances. David Cooperrider, who is attributed for being the founder of Appreciative Inquiry, I love this one quote. He says, "People build their commitment to change in direct proportion to the degree that they are actively engaged in designing the change." So what that means is when there are initiatives that come through, the more people are involved from all stakeholders and have a voice, the more it will be embraced and truly have some flourishing moments. The whole concept is really built around these 3 little words, and it's how might we. How means that we have some playful curiosity. Might means that it hasn't already been decided, and that the outcomes, anything can be possible. And then finally, we shows that there is true collaboration. Now, let's look at an example in corporate, because that's where it was first used. So there was British Airways in 1998, and there was a problem with people losing their baggage. No one likes that. That's not good. So the traditional old model would say the problem is we lost the baggage. We need to find a solution. We drilled down for the data. We found the problem, and this is what we're going to do, and it's a new mandate. David Cooperrider came in, created an appreciative inquiry method, and what he did was he flipped it to a positive opposite. Well, how might we, at British Airways, ensure that all passengers have exceptional arrival experience? And then they brainstormed ways to make that the focus. It creates life and breathes some fresh air into it. So to be relevant in education, how does that look like when we take this organizational model, normally done for corporations of living systems, and put it into education? There was a Vancouver school board in 2006, 100 schools, 57,000 students. They were stressed over standardized tests. I think we can all relate to that. So what they did was they wanted to create dialogue rather than debate as this educational community. How can we make this situation work for us? And so what they did, the results of that summit where all stakeholders came together and brainstormed positive ways using all of those principles of AI, they increased empathy and trust. They increased self-esteem and passions for the profession. Now those are very abstract, but specifically what came out of that is that there was building relationships with Aboriginal families from that area. Specifically, new student leadership programs came about from the students. And then finally, they even partnership with some professional sports franchises to display art within local businesses. That never would have happened if it was a traditional top-down mandate. Another one, case study, private school in 2011. This was in Australia. And there were 2,100 students plus and over 150 adults. What they wanted to do, this was not focusing on trying to fix a problem. What they wanted to do, and how aligned is this with us here at NAREN, to design a comprehensive 3-year well-being program to, and this is word for word, their goal was how might we create an inspiring SEL environment where boys thrive. This was the result of the AI Summit. 83% self-reported better understanding, the students said this, that they had a better understanding of well-being, resilience, and strengths. And this is the magic. The same, basically the same figure, they created awareness in each other's strengths and well-being. So they were being taught empathy this way. So how might we? How might we have professional development that looks like this? Or this? Or this? Coming together with all stakeholders. How might we have moments in education with administration and faculty so it looks like this? Or maybe even this. Thank you very much. And if you're interested in getting involved, this is how to contact me. And I look forward to hearing from you all. Thank you.